Well, after 2 weeks of deliberating, arguing with myself, and rewatching clips, I've finally selected the winners of my inaugural anime awards. There ended up being 31 nominees, 19 categories, and 9 different winners. Overall, I think that 2018 was a good year for anime. There were a lot of shows that I thought were good, but only a handful that I thought were great. To quantify that, my average rating was a 718, or a 695 if you don't include sequels. But let's just skip the fluff and get right into the awards. If you missed the nomination videos, you can check the card or the description for links. Here are the winners of the 2018 JDA Anime Awards. Best Story: Steins Gate Zero. As a huge fan of the original Steins Gate, it would be an understatement to say that I was excited for Steins Gate Zero. This is darker than the original, following a depressed Okabe in the Beta World line who never fully recovers from losing Kurisu, and it's also to an extent slower paced. However, the lengthy build-up is worth it for the incredible conclusion. The story in Steins Gate Zero can stand on its own as a great one, but what solidified it as the best story of the year for me were the clever and meaningful tie-ins that it made to the original story, which made me appreciate the franchise even more. Best Art and Animation: Violet Evergarden. There were many impressively drawn and animated anime this year, and Attack on Titan Season 3's fight scenes made this a tough choice. But in the end it was Kyoto Animation's Violet Evergarden, with its gorgeous backdrops and character animations, that I felt deserved the nod. This is one of those anime that you can show to anyone, and regardless of their interest in the medium, elicit a wow reaction. KyoAni has proved once again just why they're regarded as one of the best when it comes to art and animation. In fact, this might just be one of the best looking anime of all time. Best Character Design: Violet Evergarden. As this ties in closely with Best Art, it's no surprise that Violet Evergarden would also take this one home. Each character is beautifully designed and easily recognizable, and every character's design perfectly fit their personality. The way that you can clearly tell someone's emotional state based on a quick shot of their face, especially their eyes, was something I found particularly remarkable. Like its art and animation as a whole, I think that Violet Evergarden could be heralded as having some of the best character designs in anime. Best Soundtrack: Violet Evergarden. I know, 3 wins in a row, but bear with me. Violet Evergarden deserves each and every one of these. It may not have had the high energy and hype-filled tracks like some of the action-oriented anime, but what it did have was a soundtrack that perfectly complemented the drama and emotions on display throughout the show. It's filled with tracks that, when you go back and listen to it afterwards, you'll instantly be taken back to the scene it was from and to the emotions you were feeling. Another nice touch was the inclusion of typewriter sounds in some of the tracks. Considering the typewriter is a catalyst for Violet's character development, it made the tracks feel more personal to her. Best Opening: Kokoku. If you saw my Best Openings of 2018 video, then you'll already know why I like this one. The color usage is borderline psychedelic, the visuals are all over the place but always have something interesting going on, and the song itself is a bass-heavy jam. It's one of the most unique openings out there. Best Ending: Grand Blue. This ending actually made me laugh the first time I saw it, and most times after that. Featuring the guys from the cast out doing karaoke, there's not much to it aside from it being a ton of fun, a catchy song, funny visuals, and just an all-around very entertaining ending song. It perfectly fit the vibe of the show, and I never skipped it. Best Action: Attack on Titan Season 3. Despite the heavier focus on story and political drama that permeated this season, there were plenty of incredible action scenes. And between the uprising, which results in human-on-human violence, and the standard Titan slaying, there was a lot to take in. The action is immensely satisfying to watch thanks to the fluid and detailed animation, and because of the stakes and animation quality, there was no question in my mind that this was the most deserving nominee. Best Comedy: Grand Blue. Led by a great cast, Grand Blue had me laughing out loud in every single episode. The situations range from realistic to absurd, but nearly all of them set up funny jokes, and there are so many quotable lines and memeable reaction faces. Being a college student myself made this a bit more relatable considering all of the characters are in college themselves. But even excluding that, I think most people can acknowledge the strength of the voice acting and entertainment posed by the characters and all of the situations they get into. Best Drama. A Place Further Than the Universe. Violet Evergarden put up a hell of a fight, but in the end I think that it's A Place Further Than the Universe that deserves the win. It expertly balances comedy with character development, leading to a thoroughly engaging story with a wonderfully written cast and superb dialogue. Not only is there a central conflict that is addressed throughout, but each character has their own sub-conflict, and all are explored and resolved without resorting to melodrama. When the final message presents itself, it really drives home how meaningful the journey was. It's relatable, entertaining, exciting, funny, and oozes staying power. This is drama at its best. Best Romance. Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. While the romance between Sakura and Mai wasn't the main focus of the show, it was a major subplot and would often impact each character's arc. The two of them are well written and likable, and the romance never feels forced. There's no melodrama, they're mature in the way they handle disagreements and other problems, they communicate well, and they have a great chemistry. There are plenty of endearing moments between them, and I didn't have a Best Couple or Ship award, but if I did, they would have won it. Best Protagonist. Okabe Rintaro, Steins Gate Zero. 7 years removed from the original Steins Gate, Okabe is still one of the best protagonists in anime. He's incredibly well written, with great dialogue and development. He's engaging and relatable in the way he cares for his friends and struggles to help them however he can. He's funny, but he has his periods when he gets down and lashes out, or when he's the one being lashed out at. And though I thought Steins Gate Zero had an overall weaker cast than the original, Okabe remained a solid constant. A protagonist who you love to sympathize with and root for, from beginning to end. Best Antagonist. Kenny, Attack on Titan Season 3. Kenny was a good change of pace for Attack on Titan. In the previous seasons, the villains were always the Titans. But with the developments in Season 3, the Survey Corps face a new enemy in Kenny, the leader of a squad of former military police. Kenny is a brutal character, but one who is surprisingly fleshed out. The show explores his past and his goals, and while you dislike his methods, you can't help but sympathize with his motivation and acknowledge that he's a human being, albeit a flawed one. Best Girl. 02, Darling in the Franxx. This was definitely my hardest choice in these awards. 02 had been running strong as the number one up until the fall season when Mai burst onto the scene with her great writing and dialogue. However, in the end, I feel that 02 still deserves the award for one main reason: her incredible backstory, which was unveiled across 2 episodes at the peak of Darling in the Franxx's popularity. It answered so many questions and served as a massive turning point in her character development in addition to much of the rest of the cast. It shined a light on many of her actions and fully unveiled her motivations, and it made me appreciate her character all the more. I could see a good argument for either side, but 02 is my best girl of 2018. Best Boy. Sakura Azusagawa, Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Sakura is one of the rarer male main characters in a harem-style anime that isn't a bumbling fool, but rather is dry, sarcastic, witty, and intelligent. It's not exactly a harem either, given that Sakura actually has a girlfriend in Mai, but each arc focuses on a different girl and Sakura helping them solve their problems. He has great chemistry with not just Mai, but the entire cast in general, and his often deadpan delivery makes some of the dialogue much funnier. Sakura is entertaining and an overall good guy in general. Best Overall Cast. Golden Kamuy. Golden Kamuy has a massive cast full of varied characters, and with such a varied cast, it's inevitable that some are better written and developed than others. But even with that, the sheer variety of characters is commendable. Golden Kamuy is a story driven by its characters, that all have their own motivations, methods, interests, and goals. Many characters make you relate and empathize with them in different ways, and uneasy alliances and sudden betrayals make for a roller coaster of a ride. Best Voice Acting, Male. Ryohei Kimura as Kohei Imamura, Grand Blue. I honestly don't know how Kimura was able to say some of Kohei's lines with a straight face. He really got into this character and played a great comedic role, expertly delivering each of his lines. Be it daily life with the diving club, arguing with Iori, or bemoaning the fact that he doesn't have a harem of high school girls worshipping him even though he's in college, Kimura crushed this performance. Best Voice Acting, Female. Kana Hanazawa as Shirase Kabuchizawa, A Place Further Than the Universe. There's a reason that Kana Hanazawa is considered to be one of the best voice actors in business right now, and it's on full display in her role as Shirase. Expertly nailing all facets of Shirase's personality, Hanazawa shows off just how talented she is. The amount of conviction with which she delivers her lines and plays up Shirase's drive to reach Antarctica is amazing, and there's no way her performance won't resonate with you in some way. Best Continuing Series. Attack on Titan Season 3. There were a number of impressive sequels in 2018, but none jumped out as much as Attack on Titan's third season. There was a huge tonal shift as the focus moved from Titan slaying to political drama and the seedy underbelly of Attack on Titan, as you see what really goes on under the hood inside the walls. In addition to the plot being more engaging, all of the other aspects of the production, such as the animation, soundtrack, voice acting, and overall direction, were similarly impressive. Anime of the Year. A Place Further Than the Universe. A Place Further Than the Universe was the very first show that I started watching in 2018, and a year later, it's still the best one. Talk about starting the year off strong. A Place Further is phenomenal in every way, from the story to the characters, the animation to the soundtrack, the writing to the direction. There was no show I related to more, and no show that I went back to more. It's a wonderfully engaging adventure story, led by a lovable cast with a great message, and an anime that anyone who appreciates the medium, or even just good storytelling in general, should make a priority to watch. You can click the card in the corner to check out my full review of it. And that wraps up all my awards. Congrats to all the winners this year. Next year, I hope to expand the awards by including more categories and more nominees. It's been quite the process putting all of this together, but in the end, I'm just happy to be able to personally recognize and celebrate what I believe to be some of the best anime of the year. If you enjoyed watching this, don't forget to leave a like, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching my video, and until next time.